Hi, good morning guys, thanks for joining me. Hope everyone's well, hope everyone's having a nice week. What an absolutely stunning day today. What are we now? October the 12th, and the sun is quite warm and there's not a breath of wind in the air. So today I should have been staying in. I've got a couple of videos which I was editing, but I thought, you know, with this weather as it is, I've got to take advantage of it. And the other day I went over to Bakewell again, which is over in the Peak District. I went over there just to buy a few leather supplies, and I called into Woodland Ways. I've had to put myself together just a little bit of a solar fire kit. So I thought, with the sun being out today, what a perfect opportunity to try it. I thought I'd just show you the item itself and the little kit which I've put together. So that being said, I'm just going to put the items out on the stump there, show you all about it, and we perhaps got a little fire started. So the little kit itself, I've just popped into one of these little Frost River buckskin pouches, and I do like these little pouches. They're a nice size for keeping these kind of things in, and they're good quality. So the little kit itself comprises of around about 4 items, and everything in this pouch here is enough to get multiple fires starting. So I've just got a little piece of chaga there. I'll talk more about that in a minute, and a little charring tin, and just there, a nice length of jute if you're doing any kind of inlays and the Tinder bundles. Well, the item itself, this was the item which I purchased. This is what's referred to as the Tinder hot box, and these are made by Solo Scientific over in the States. A small, nice, compact little item, and the idea behind it is it's a storage box for your Tinder. It is waterproof and airtight. I've actually tried that. I just popped it just into a pan of water and just kept it in there for around about 20 minutes. And the Tinder which I put in was just cotton wool, so you know, that was one of the things which is soak up water and just show if the box itself was leaking. So it just comes in 2 halves. You just take off just the top, and one section here has got the O-ring on it, which is going to seal it, like I say, and stop any moisture or any air getting into it. So that's going to allow your Tinder to stay nice and dry. And basically what the item is a little parabolic reflector. Now these things aren't new. When we were kids, we used to use headlamps off motorbikes, that kind of thing, just playing about. But just seeing this, it's a small, nice, compact size, and for anyone that watches the channel knows that I use magnifying glasses and the things and the likes. So it was just nice just to try something different and just see how well they work. So like I say, they come in 3 parts. You've got the main part, which is the parabolic reflector there. You've got the lid, and you've also got there the little clip, which is where you put the Tinder. So just taking a look at the construction, and it's been machined out of aircraft aluminium, so it is a nice, lightweight but strong item. And the overall size when it's put together like this is around about 2 3/4 in diameter, around about 3/4 of an inch thick, and the weight of it is around about 4 ounces. So a nice, compact, sturdy item. There's no chance of breaking it or, you know, perhaps damaging it. You know, to me, you know, it's a good solid unit. So when it comes to putting it together, like I say, we just got the 2 sections there and this little bit of a clip. And the clip itself, when you're not using the reflector, is stored just in the lid. You can actually push that forward there, and there's no chance of losing that. And a couple of suggestions also on their website, as well as using it for what it's been designed for storing your Tinder in, but also starting fires. They also say that you can use the lid itself as a little bit of a signal mirror, and you can polish this aluminium up quite easy. You could use something like Auto Sol or perhaps your Tormek, anything like that, and you can get a real good shine on this aluminium. So that's one of the things which you say you can use it for. Another way is you can actually turn that just into a little lantern, just by putting that little clip just on the little nipple, just like so, and then you can just feed just a little bit of jute, anything like that, as a wick, just through the hole at the top there. You could fill it with vegetable oil, and you can make yourself just a little bit of a makeshift lantern. And like I say, then the main thing is for the fire starting. So when it comes to setting this parabolic reflector up, you've got the little arm, and the arm itself has been machined out, so you've got a hole at the top and a hole at the bottom, and also you've got this other hole here, which is what they refer to as a light hole. And when it comes to putting it just on the reflector itself, you want to make sure that that light hole is kept at the top, and it's just a case of just pushing the little clip itself just over the nipple, and there's the reflector ready to go. So we're just going to talk a little bit about the Tinders. Like I said, I was going to show you how I like to make my Tinder bundles, and it's just a case now of just seeing how well this works and just seeing if it was worth the money. So just before we actually get a little bit of tinder lit, I thought to just run through the items which we're going to make the tinder bundle out of, and obviously depending on where you are in the world you're going to find different materials. But for today we just found a little bit of bracken, some coarse, I'm not sure if it was dry grass or whatever it is, but some kind of seed poddy material, and then we've got some coarse dry grass there, some rose bay willow herb which is now drying off nice at this time of the year. And one thing which I do carry quite readily in the fire kit, some kind of bark, whether that's birch bark or any other kind of flammable bark. Another thing that you always tend to carry is a little bit of jute. Again, you could use that as inlays in your tinder bundles, or you could actually use that as a tinder bundle itself. So when it comes to making the tinder bundles, what I like to do, very similar to making a fire, I tend to get the finer materials in the centre, the first things which I want to ignite, then we can build it up so the outer layers are a bit more coarse, a bit more heavy duty, and then once them have caught fire they burn for a lot longer and helps to get your fire started. So we're just going to start off with the finer materials, just going to break them down, and for this one we're just going to use a little bit of jute. When it comes to using jute, I do prefer the thicker fibre. There's nothing worse than trying to break down them little small thin fibres. I do tend to find if you buy it as a thicker cord like that, when you do break it down, that them smaller, thinner fibres break down a lot easier than just buying a spool of that thin, spindly stuff anyway. So that's going to be the first part, and then we're just going to build it up like I say, and that'll be the second layer, third layer. The fourth layer we could use the bracken, and then just at the back of that we could use these stalks, again which are nice and dry, but once they catch fire they'll burn for a lot longer than obviously things like the grass will. Okay, so I've just now finished processing everything down. We just fluffed it all out just to give us a little bit more surface area. So we're just going to start off with the coarser items. So that was that cedar material. We've also put quite a bit of bracken in there. So just on top of that, I'm just going to go just a little bit finer, which is with that coarser grass. Just put that on top, and then that rose bay willow herb we can lay on top of that, and then the finest item, which is the bark and the jute, we're going to put that just on top. So that's everything layered up. So now it's just a case of making it so it's nice and manageable when we're using it. Just like so, and then the part where we're going to put the ember is going to sit in there with this real fine jute. And again, if there was a little bit of moisture just in the tinder bundle, this would help it dry out and actually ignite. If everything was too wet, then we could go over to feathers and curls and actually make a little tinder bundle just out of feather sticks and that kind of thing. So the sun now is just about poke out from behind them trees, so we're going to use a little bit of Amadou just in that little reflector and just see how long it takes just to get that ignited. So I've got various pieces of Amadou. Like I mentioned, I've got this other little tin here, and then there I've got some charred cloth, some charred Amadou and chaga. One thing which I do recommend is charring your tinder prior to using it, but I have tried this a couple of times and the Amadou does work really well. And another thing which I also like is chaga. So I'm going to cut just a chunk of the chaga off, and then certainly if everything was damp you could then transfer the original ember over to something which is going to smoulder a lot longer, like your chaga, and that way then it'll give you more of a fighting chance. So I'm just going to cut a little chunk off. I know I could pretty much get it going anyway, just with the Amadou. And now it's just a case of just tearing just a small amount of Amadou off. Then when it comes to pouring it just in the little tinder clip or the tinder arm, it's just a case of just pushing it in just like so, so that it grips. And then if I get the camera just to pick it up, this hole at the back here, what they recommend is the tinder hangs down around about 1/8 of an inch, so that it can actually ignite just through that little hole there. So we're just going to get ourselves into the sun now, and we're just going to get this going. And like I say, I'm just going to get this tinder bundle lit. So now that sun's just poking back around from the tree, it's just a case of pointing the reflector directly at the sun. Just finding the optimum spot, very similar to using a magnifying glass. As you can see now, it's starting to smoke. So we'll just transfer that over to another little piece of amadou, and then we'll get over to the fire pit and get the tinder bundle lit. So now we've got the two pieces going. We've got the amadou and the chaga, and like I said, the chaga smoulders a lot slower than the amadou. It's absolutely awesome little tinder. So we're just going to place that just onto the fine part, just into the centre of the tinder bundle there. It's just a case now of just blowing on it, giving it a little bit of oxygen and blowing it into life. There's no rush at this part. Certainly if you've got a substantial tinder bundle, if you notice here it's quite a few inches thick, there's nothing worse than blowing on it and blowing it straight the way through. So with this, around about, I don't know, 4, maybe 5 inches, anything less than 3, you know, I don't tend to use, but if I can get them this thick, these are the ones which I prefer to use. So there we have the Tinder Hotbox by Solo Scientific, a great little piece of kit. It's certainly well made, and on a day like today it's certainly got that fire started quite quick. And when it comes to buying these kind of things, it's going to cost you anywhere between £30 and £40. They're certainly not cheap, but they are well made, and they are made over in the States. So just as long as I don't lose it, I'm sure this kind of thing is going to last me the rest of my days. And again, perfect for the fire kit, bug out bags, survival kits and all that kind of stuff. I will leave all the links in the description box, because these guys do make quite a lot of other stuff as well, more firelighting stuff and also trapping equipment. So again, it might be a little bit of interest of you out there and something for you to look at and perhaps try. So like always guys, you just leave me say thanks a lot for you stopping by and watching the video. Like always, until next time, you take care and I'll see you again.